Welcome to Synchronicity. Let's describe the current energy. I think the technical term is what the fucking fuck is going on. Holy shit. I did a live stream the other day and it basically just turned into talking about how fucking crazy the energy is right now. Here's the deal, guys. I think I referenced this in the last podcast. What was the last one? No, it was with Bill. That was a nice podcast. Bill's a cool guy. Go check out what he's doing. Good mixes and stuff. But fuck, I think on the one before that I referenced that it was like, this energy, there's like this Mars Saturn square. Anyway, my friend wrote in Water Baby Tarot, easily the best Patreon I've ever signed up for. She's just the coolest and the best and tapped into the collective as well as anyone I've ever met, ever. Just totally insane. She was talking about how Jupiter is now applying, I think it's conjunct Saturn, is it? I don't know. I probably should pay attention more to the technical stuff. But basically, it's this energy of really amplifying this press down of this Saturn Mars energy, which is like, hey, let's move through this shit. We're ready to transcend to new levels of consciousness and amazing new realities and relationships and everything we want. And Saturn's like, hey, there, motherfuckers, slow that shit down. You sure you want to do that? We're going to go through every fucking pattern you have ever run that you haven't fully purged yet until you're done with it. So that's the energy that's going on. It's pretty clear. I've found the best way to get through it is surrendering through the entire process, letting whatever needs to happen, really making the commitment that you're going to work through anything that comes up that leads to you. Basically, the way I'd put it is like this. There's your higher self. And your higher self, you basically find yourself now. This is your higher self. This is future, kind of in linear time, best, perfect, most evolved, coolest, fucking badass version of you, which is you now. I want to be very clear about that. But the future version, where it's like the cool, everything fucking totally locked in, that person, geez Louise, that person comes back, finds you, and creates this like tether that basically pulls you towards that version of you. Now, what we perceive as potential obstacles or challenges or difficulties are actually stepping stones when we look back at them, but that's the path that it kind of pulls us towards. Now, the trick is with this shit is to recognize that your belief and your awareness and your consciousness creates reality. It is reality, quite literally. And recognize that if you're creating realities that you don't want to be engaging with, you have the power to pull yourself out of that whenever you want. And that's pretty important to remember and bear in mind. Okay. Also, there may be energy coming up for people where you're like, am I crazy? Is this what is going on? I thought I figured this shit out. Why am I have not figured it out? That's just, I don't know. It's just what's going on right now. You have figured it out. Trust that. This is just part of the process of reviewing, kind of exacerbating what's going on right now, like what you need to transcend, what's limiting you, what's not feeling right. And it's okay if you feel a little bit off. It's okay if you feel a little bit off center. Also, astrologically, we have this Mars in Aries retrograde action going on, and it's just like, boom, there's going to be fights, there's going to be confrontation, just in personal lives, in political lives. I keep saying political is obvious. Who gives a shit about that, right? Like, just in the world, there's going to be shit. But really in your life, who gives a fuck about the world? That's just an extended version of you anyway. Who gives a fuck about the world? Can we put that as a quote? Quote me on that one. Who gives a fuck about the world? We do care about your problems, though. That's whose problems you should care about. And it's not problems. I just had a really good reading with my friend, and she was feeling really stuck on a particular issue. And she kept asking questions like, how do I get over this? What do I do to get over this? And I was trying to encourage her. I was like, listen, here's the thing. You got to catch what you're doing first off before you go anywhere else. You're creating a problem. You've acknowledged a reality where a problem exists just by framing the questions, what do I do? How do I fix it, right? So when you just go, what did I do to fix it? How did I solve this? When did I solve it, right? Past tense. Then at least you're giving your rational, analytical mind something to chew on, and it just goes to the task of solving that problem. That I found is very useful in this like Virgo, soon to be Libra season, just like it gives that detail oriented, like watchdog mind something to solve. And it's a constructive problem. But if you're asking yourself questions like, what do I do? What am I going to do if that happens? What's going to happen here? How's this going to work out? Why is that going to happen? Oh, I fucked up. I did bad. Or did this person fuck me over? Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff, right? All this stuff. If you're asking yourself those questions, just going like, when did I solve all those problems? How did it come into be the perfect situation again? And first, your mind will fight this. You'll be like, this is retarded. You're an idiot. This sounds stupid. You can blame me for that. That's what I'm here for, in case you haven't figured it out. I'm so overly optimistic when it comes to this shit because it is my direct experience. It continues to happen in my life that I'm the person who I'll fucking take the hits if it sounds retarded, if it sounds stupid. Am I allowed to say that word? I know that's a controversial word. I'm just saying it because it's just, this is how I spoke when I was a kid, and that's how I speak now. And obviously, I'm not being disparaging to people who are mentally handicapped. That'd be ridiculous, right? Retarded just means slow. And that's what you would be if you weren't understanding these very basic concepts that maybe seem silly, but are also totally plausible. Your mind is malleable. It's an easy thing that can be bended into the direction you would like to bend it. It's like sculpting. It's like, what's the Neville Goddard thing? The potter. The potter. Let's say you're making a beautiful pot. It's a beautiful pot. You're constructing this amazing reality. You're manifesting the shit out of everything. You're fucking killing it. You're just nailing it. What a beautiful world you've created. And then you do something. You stick your hand in some poop and you ruin your thing. And it goes and it crumbles down. It crumbles. You ever see that TikTok, or was it a Vine of, I think it was a TikTok where this girl is making a pot, and then it turns into, like, flops over. It looks like a dick, and then she tries to fix it. It looks more like a dick. It looks more like a dick. Let's say you're doing that with your life. Let's say you're trying to create this amazing, beautiful vase or vase, however you want to say it, pot. You're great. You're great at what do they call that thing that spins? The clay thing. Jesus Christ. It's one of those episodes. That's all I'll say. You're trying to spin this thing, and you're making this thing, and it's, oh, look at this beautiful vase. You've done such a good job. And then you squeeze it too tight, and it starts to look like a dick. And you go, oh, I got to fix this thing. I want it to look like a vase. I don't want it to be floppy Dickville. And then you do more, and then it's floppy Dickville even more. And it's like, oh, geez, you ruined the whole thing. Now, at that point, there's a point to this story. It's not just me talking about floppy dick pots. When it gets down to this, like, mushed, like, ruined thing, you can cry. You can say, oh, look, I knew I was going to ruin this pot. I'm no good at making pots. I'm bad at it. I can only make floppy dicks. I mean, you could go into a career of making floppy dicks. That would work. But anyway, let's say you're just no good. You really want to make pots. You don't. You just reshape the fucking pot. You build up the clay again. You make your thing, and you make it again. It's super easy. It's not hard if you know how to do it. Knowing how to do it is knowing that your emotions and your conviction and your belief and your faith literally is what summons reality. I feel like a preacher right now. I shouldn't feel like I'm preaching. I'm preaching to the choir. Hopefully you understand this. Most people listen to this podcast or listen to me yammer about whatever the fuck I talk about because they recognize, like, I'm not trying to sell you anything here. There's no fucking prize at the end of this other than, like, you understanding this is actually how shit works. This is actually how shit works. This is not like a trick. It's anything. It's completely dependent on your belief. If you don't believe this, if it's poppycock, you're probably not listening to me at this point. But if you do, it's just total poppycock, then that's your reality. You're going to get all the evidence in the world to support that. Okay. If you do believe it, obviously, you're going to start experiencing things. You'll be like, oh, shit, I think this is how it works. That's a little freaky. Oh, my God, this is how things really work. Then we oscillate back and forth, and sometimes we ask ourselves questions like, is this really how it works? Is this really? And we're definitely in that kind of energy, but it's just like whipping back and forth. Reminds me of being in Turkey on this boat, and it was just like this fucking mass was just slamming from side to side. That's what it feels like the energy is. I feel like I physically went through many of these things like a month ago, and now I'm like psychically having to go through them. It's like, that's reversal. It's usually the other way, I feel like. But anyway, that's what a lot of this energy feels like right now. If you're riding it and you're feeling pretty good and you found things that help you stabilize whatever support system that is, again, a support system, whether it's another person, something you can do, it's you doing it, right? Please acknowledge that. You're the core generative power right here. You're doing it. So congratulate yourself if you found those things. If you're feeling like you're getting fucking rocked and gut punched, fucking kind of appreciate it, I guess. Appreciate the ability to feel like you're getting gut punched, because it is just an illusion at the end of the day. Somewhere we're like meditating or having sex or like coming, whatever it is, and we're like we're imagining this whole world, and it's like, wow, we get to imagine ourselves suffering and going through life experiences in linear time on this place called Earth. Whoa. But now we're just going through it, so fucking enjoy it. All right, I want to talk about relationships a little bit and what their value is in this time, and what maybe many people are experiencing, regardless of the intimacy of the relationship. Although I am talking about kind of romantic, intimate relationships here primarily, but it can be anything. During this Mars fucking retrograde in Aries. So Aries is, the ram. It's also, Mars is Apollo, god of war, ambition, movement. There's a lot of fucking fiery, warlike energy, and they're connected in a deep and visceral way. With the retrograde, we also have these themes coming up from the past. I'm someone who looks at retrogrades more than necessarily hindrances or obstacles, which they certainly can embody, but more as opportunities to look at certain energies related to that sign or house or planet. So, certainly it's worth looking up which house your Aries placements are, or your Mars placements are, rather. Take a gander at what's going on, and then also in your chart where everything is lining up with the transits. It's worthwhile doing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll do some astrology stuff in the future. But anyway, one of the cool things I've found really over the past 24 hours, but it's been longer than that. It's been a lifelong journey, is running projections of your deep-seated fears and insecurities off of another person. And this is something we do, I think, until we find or make an internal commitment first, and then find a reflection of that internal commitment, basically another person who we're actually willing to accept the challenge of growing with, for real, like really actually growing with. That is a really special thing to find in life. And let me be very clear, it does not mean fun all the time. I think this is what I'm realizing about kind of soulmate level connections. And I think ultimately, yes, everyone's a soulmate of soulmates, but there is this like deep resonant kind of like bonded commitment, kind of like, what is this? What is this type of thing? This is too crazy, where we really stop being able to run our own projections off of another person. And what I mean by that, I'll use myself as an example. It has been exposed by me internally, and then for everyone else to see who knows me. I do, intimately, I have security and abandonment issues, right? I don't really trust many people, and I'm so fucking clever that I wrap this into a elaborate metaphysical and philosophical viewpoint, which is that your imagination creates reality, and ultimately it is you. But as this manifests in kind of a distorted negative way in relationships, this can be like possessiveness, it can be jealousy, it can be just kind of traditional fear-based thinking in relationships. And until I really decided to truly deal with this stuff and also be the person for someone else to deal with their issues, this shit dominated my relationships in many different ways. And it doesn't mean I was possessive. My previous 2 relationships, before my current one, I really didn't exhibit a lot of tendencies. I wasn't jealous, I wasn't possessive, but nevertheless, this behavior was there. And when I was ready to confront it, I put myself in a relationship where this is getting triggered regularly. However, the difference between kind of like a twin flame where you're just going to fight each other and fucking battle each other out of this stuff, which is, a valid path as well. And it doesn't mean you're not a soulmate. It doesn't mean this person isn't important in your life. It just means the qualitative difference with that is, at a certain point, it may feel like this is actually tenuous. This is actually a relationship that doesn't feel locked in stone. It doesn't feel locked in stone is probably the wrong word, but there's such a strong fucking pull here that it's almost difficult to think. It's easy to prioritize you're dealing with your own bullshit over fucking blaming someone else for something, even if they're objectively wrong or triggering you. Like, you will make the internal commitment that it's like, you know what? This isn't worth it. Like, I actually would rather deal with my own bullshit at this point. And recognizing you have bullshit and recognizing where it seeps into the relationship and where your real accountability is there is a necessary step that I think everyone right now is being asked to investigate. That seems to be the general vibe. And this doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship to appreciate this or experience it. It's just really being honest with the patterns that you're exhibiting in your life that you are ready to transcend. And let me tell you, the functional reason for this is like, as we move into this new badass reality, it's a fucking cool place. We're moving in it. We're fucking in it. As we continue to do this, we're going to get better and better fucking at manifesting shit, at creating the worlds we want to create. If that's true, you want to be like pretty good at creating good, cool stuff. And what can happen is if you have these patterns, we could call them demons. We could call them parasites. We could call them, fucking weird jibby jobbies. I don't know what you want to call them. But these things that are kind of clinging to us, they are us. Don't externalize any of this shit too much, but they are us. That's going to seep into what we create and build into the world. And that's cool if that's how we want to learn and grow and experience things. But we also have the choice to kind of like move past that. And this is really where I think like true liberation, freedom of the mind, the phrase actually means something. Is like, you just get the space. I've spoken about this countless times. You have the space in which to deal with things. That's the freedom, right? That's the freedom of mind. It's not, it is also like, yeah, man, so fucking cool, we're free, we're cosmic being. It is also that. I don't want to say it's not that, but it's really just like freeing up your mind to actually like deal with what you want to create and experience and see in the world. So another issue that I've been going through, I'm just gonna like blast out my issues. That's what this episode is space and recognizing the relationship between personal space, individual space, whether that's for creation, whether it's just to be alone, whether it's to exercise, whatever it is, and a relationship. And this for me is also like a very interesting lesson that I think me and Denise, I'll put her on blast here, are both learning, is that like we really love being with each other. It's kind of like perverted and sick how much we love it in a nice way, I like to think. So separating can be difficult, but we're also like incredibly hermity. Like, I love being alone. I can truly express myself. Like, I really like gain power by being alone. It's like one of my most powerful states of being. So finding that balance and figuring out how to integrate that into a relationship in a harmonious way is incredibly important. And then I think also making sure that if boundaries exist within a relationship, that they're clearly communicated. And boundaries don't just have to be like monogamy and things like that. They can be like, like how much are we integrating our lives? Like, where are we comfortable sharing what we have going on internally in our relationship, externally into the world, whether that's not with like family members, but like, how much are we putting this shit on blast? I'm kind of a nightmare to be in a relationship with because I want to put everything on blast like immediately. And I didn't. Like when I was, separating with my wife, like I didn't talk about that on the podcast, but my tendency is to always talk about everything, just kind of how I process things, because usually when I talk it out, I hear myself and I'm like, oh my God, this is how I actually feel. I actually have to deal with this now, positive or negative. And that's a very helpful thing. So just recognize you may be going through a lot of these similar issues related to boundaries, getting triggered, getting just kind of doubting whether you're like ready to grow and move past something. And all of these things truly are opportunities regardless of outcome. This is the most paradoxical thing about manifestation. I'm finding it's the most paradoxical thing about being in an interdependent relationship is you just like, you gotta fucking, I forgot my train of thought. Oh my God. I almost want to review. I'm not going to rewind to listen to what I said, but I was literally on track to say something. What's the paradox, guys? Remind me. You can say now. You can send me a message being, this is what you're trying to say, and I probably would have remembered it. I don't know, but there are a lot of paradoxes. Oh yeah, the manifestation paradox, of course. The more you try to manifest and create something, the more you need to understand the subtlety at play that allows it to manifest. the less you focus on something, but have the intention or kind of emotion and conviction and faith with, the sooner and easier it is to actually manifest. And when I say manifest, experience it with your senses in the world. That's the paradox. So the relationship will actually give you, and relationships will give you exactly what you need when you need it, when you're ready for that, which sounds like a bunch of platitudes in a row, and it kind of is, but it's also not. And it's very visceral. It's very qualitative. I was talking about this in a reading about love and unconditional love, and the qualitative aspect of what love is. And ultimately, I think everything is an expression of love. I don't think that it's just this one thing that we define, but there are certainly what seem to be more powerful and visceral and tangible connections of love that can seemingly come out of nowhere, that are very like, whoa, what is that? Like, I don't think I was doing that before. And I don't think it's a value judgment. It's just like qualitatively, this is something different. A lot of parents understand this. Like when you have a kid, when you have a child, out of nowhere, even before the child's born, there's this connection and you love this fucking kid. And then when it's born and you see it, it's just fucking crazy out of nowhere. You're like, oh my God, I'm hooked for life now on this. Like, I really gotta love, like, it's not I gotta love, it's just I love this child, these children so much, right? That comes out of nowhere. It's a very clear feeling. It's, I would do anything to support this. I don't want to implant my own kind of subjective bias on this, but I think this is how most parents feel. And so that qualitatively is a lot different than a conditional type of love where it's like, I will love you if you exhibit a behavior that I deem to be appropriate, right? This is like classic unintentional manipulation with emotions. And I think it's really important to just be honest about what you may be doing in that regard to bring it into relationships or bring it into your life. If you're doing something that just is like kind of like a distorted view of looking at something, it's going to seep in without doubt. Like an example is, I'll use myself again, that like if I get pinged, if I start to feel angry or upset that someone is interested in Denise, which is going to happen like probably all the time. Like she's the most incredible person ever. Like I'm not in a great position to have people not, wanting to fucking be with her or get to know her better, whatever you want to say. Is that a euphemism? Get to know her better? Jesus Christ. Basically, when that happens, it's happened enough in the relationship where I'm like, all right, I got to figure out a way to actually deal with this. If I kind of like passively push that away and like, I'm not going to deal with it, fuck this guy, that's not going to be a nice thing into the relationship. But if I can find a different approach, if I can feel like, you know what, this is just triggering something in me. I have nothing to be insecure about. I have nothing to doubt. I have nothing to fear. If I can really just remind myself of that at key moments, I'm strengthening a core muscle, which is this core muscle of faith, conviction, and belief. And also, this is where it comes to the paradoxical thing. I don't want people to think that like I only am aware of positive outcomes. I like play through like all of the worst shit so much of the time. Like all of the scenarios that end in like doomsday and heartbreak and failure. It's not that I'm unaware of them. It's not I'm unaware of potential avenues of pain and suffering. It's that I go, you know what? I'd rather not. And then you will work through critical issues that expose potentially other issues that you have and want to work through. But if you approach it lightly and like a game and understand that this shit doesn't have to be heavy for a very long period of time. Sometimes it has to be heavy. Sometimes there's a gravity of a situation, but you always have the ability to kind of pull out of it. If you're willing to do that kind of shift internally, things get a lot easier in life. At least you can move yourself in and out of states with greater kind of agility, if that makes sense. I think the most important thing that people are being asked to look at, I'm going to keep hammering this home, is you need to be your own savior, right? You really do need to save yourself. As soon as you make that internal commitment that you're in charge of your own shit and that you're going to like be the best version of yourself, that's the connection between you and the higher self, right? That's the connection between you. That's you stepping into like the embodied wisdom of your higher self. From there, you will find many helpers out in reality willing to help you on that path, to stay in resonance with that belief that you know what the fuck you're doing. And that's what a lot of this podcast is about. It's kind of like catching your bearings, being like, whoa, what the fuck is that? It's like popping out of the Matrix in a lot of ways. Like, whoa, what the fuck is that? My imagination creates reality? That can't be. That's fucking insane. That sounds nuts. That's nuts. So, all right, let me try what this fucking dingus is saying with these techniques and see what happens. Oh, weird shit's happening. You get disoriented. You know what's going on. And then you start fucking clicking into the life of your dreams pretty soon sometimes, if you really believe it, if you've got a flexible kind of imagination in that regard. If you know what I'm saying. If you do, then you start living the life of your dreams, and then you're going to really start testing yourself. These are the waves I'm talking about. And Denise gave me a nice perspective on this, which it's not so much, you don't want to have a fear of getting knocked off a wave. It's just, if you want to ride badass waves, you just want to ride badass waves. You don't want to get knocked off. It's not like an immediate fear, like, oh my God, I'm going to die. It's just like, you know what? This is fucking fun. I'd like to stay up here. This is pretty great. You know, it's pretty cool to do this. Of course, I'll come back to shore when appropriate, but I like to fucking coast these waves because they're pretty fucking wavy, right? If that's what you want to do, you really want to make sure that you've made this commitment with yourself, that you will get and are the best version of yourself and deal with every situation exactly the best way. Literally the best way. As things come up, deal with them appropriately, wisely. If you exhibit behavior that's out of resonance with who you believe yourself to be, hold yourself accountable for it. Hold yourself accountable for it. Just be like, you know what? I fucking should have acted better in that situation. As you do these things, as you heal from these things, I did the Time to Heal episode, you'll just get better at kind of like, A, understanding what you actually want, the desires you're getting in touch with. B, you'll be able to effectively deal like with challenging energy as it comes your way too. And I'm sure a lot of people have realized this year, there's a lot of challenging energy out there. It's not fucking going away. We're here primarily because most of us have the internal fortitude to work through this shit, to like truly actually work through some of this dense energy. And by working through it, I mean being aware of it, having the proper perspective, being able to like transmute it into positive shit. That's why we're here. That's why a lot of us have eyes, ears, nose, mouths, and we consume media even though we don't understand why we're doing it. We're transmuting shit. But you have to be able to stabilize yourself. So like when you pop out of the matrix, realize what's going on, get disoriented, then it's a matter of like truly stabilizing yourself, right? The vision that I get is like holding onto a rail or something. If like one of those merry-go-rounds, but like the ones at the playgrounds where they spin around really fast, it's like holding on to that, learning how to hold on tight. When a boat is capsizing, holding on to something. When riding a horse and it's going really fast, how to hold on to that. That's what it's like. And you get more accustomed and used to it as time goes on and you have practice, but it does involve working through all this kind of bullshit. Like truthfully. Like working through all of these things, whether that's your behavior, whether it's behavior that you're going to allow other people to kind of play out their shit on you, but not take it personally. There's a variety of different ways that we do this. Our work, I don't think, ends in linear time. It feels like, you know, if we can approach it kind of like a playful game that we're engaging in, we'd understand why it wouldn't end. It's like if you've ever watched or even played like a really... good sports, what the fuck? If you watch like good sporting events or you've played like a game, it's like a gamer. What am I saying? A game like a gamer? Jesus Christ. No. If you've done that and you really do, you're like, I don't want this to end. This is great. That's basically what you're doing right now. That's basically what this life and existence is, except you're leveling up through emotional states, psychological states, spiritual states, and you're learning how to fucking play the game. You're literally learning how to stabilize yourself, how to move the character around, how to get to the places you want to be, how to deal with challenging situations. Those are like bosses, threshold guardians, how to deal with fears, anxieties, doubts, internal trauma. But you got to like make the internal commitment that this is something you're willing to do. You can't just pay it lip service. For people like me who think sometimes you cannot. It will literally come back and smash you in the face every time. It's a self-corrective mechanism because it's you. If you're going to be the best version of yourself, you're absolutely going to hold yourself accountable, because that's what the best version of anyone does. They own up to what they're doing. They own up to what their internal belief structures are, what they're willing to transcend, what agitates them, all those things, because that's what you do. It's like if you're cleaning a bathroom or something, and you want to clean the surface areas that you can see, and you don't want to get into like the gross shit around the toilet and the fucking bathtub and the gross fucking things. Yeah, you're gonna have to be not a finished bathtub cleaning. It'll probably be like when I clean up. Am I just describing myself when I clean a bathroom? That's going to be, it's not going to be very clean. It's not going to be pristine. If you want a pristine place in which to take a shit or shower, put in the work. No big deal. It's not as gross as you think, by the way. Take it from someone who just cleaned a bathroom the other day. It's not so bad. It's pretty good, actually. And also recognize you're going to fuck up. And if you recognize you're going to fuck up, you can be a lot more forgiving of other people when they fuck up. Because people will fuck up. It's okay. It's not a part of being human, like humans are designed to fuck up. It's we're teaching ourselves forgiveness and tolerance and judgment in the merciful sense. That's all it is. It's not you fucking up because you're bad, you're a piece of shit or something. Even like the worst pieces of shit, they're not actually fundamentally bad. They've just chosen to take on a role where they look like a piece of shit. And I've said this many times, you determine who someone is at the end of the day. And this can get very intense in an intimate relationship where two people are acutely aware of the power of beliefs and casting others in roles. It's like a fucking battle of the titans. It can be. But you know what? If the overall intention is one of love and harmony, that ultimately transcends everything. And I think that's what most people are looking for. And harmony doesn't always mean at the same level. Like a harmony can be an A or a C. It can be an A or a C sharp, right? That's a difference between a major and a minor chord. So you can play different chords of your life and determine which ones you want to play in sequence, which gets you to be kind of the song you want to be. That's cool. I'm going to go with that. Again, if you figure out how to harmonize with yourself and others, you get to determine which chords you're going to play in life. And it's not that major or minor, one is better than the other. Well, I like minor better. Minor's better than major. It's whatever your proclivities are. It's cool. Learn all the chords. It's diminished sevenths, all the good stuffs, right? Major sevenths, minor sevenths, all the sevens, nines, add sus4s, all the shit, right? Augmented, just naming chords now. Learn all of these chords and then play the song of your life. That's going to be who you actually are. Your resonant tone is that song. So do you want to be more minor chords? That's fine. I love songs that are minor and minor chords, sad, kind of melancholy things. I love them. Do I want to experience that shit in my life all the time? Fuck no. Do I want just a little bit for spice? It appears I do. It appears I do. Whoops. I didn't realize that when I was fucking, I didn't realize it. Sometimes you do it too. Do you understand this? Sometimes we want the spice in the life. But if you know why you're doing it, you understand the function, like, you experience judgment so you can understand forgiveness and tolerance. You'll appreciate the experiences as catalysts to like launching you to the best version of you. That's what you'll fundamentally just start to experience more than anything else. And then it's pretty cool. You get pretty amazing things. And then you can deal with questions of like, do I deserve this? Things are so good. The whole next series of questions that come up for people. Am I allowed to feel this good? Is this okay? Am I going insane? Did I mention the am I going insane thing is definitely like on I think it's on a lot of people's minds right now. I think there's between the forced pandemic quarantines and enclosures that people are in, just the forced relationships that people are being, just it's doing a lot of shit to a lot of people's brains. And people are like, well, when it gets back to normal, it's like, yeah, okay. What do you mean? When travel gets back to normal, when restaurants, when people don't have to start wearing masks, I don't even know what that means anymore. But it is forcing people to ask themselves, am I going fucking nuts? No, this is reality. This is the best time ever to figure out who the fuck you are, which is fucking God. You're everything. You're creating this entire world for real. How can that be? There's other people. It doesn't make sense. How can I be the person creating it if there's other people? There's other people doing it, so that doesn't make sense. Yeah, logically it makes no fucking sense, obviously. Fucking look at a tree that everyone's looking at. We're going to say, who created the tree? We all did, man. No, it's not like that. But it is that you are literally sharing kind of like a holographic drug-induced delusion. Drug being like air. That's the drug. You breathing this shit right now? That's the drug. That's the thing that's keeping you in this world. You stop breathing that, you don't stay here. That's the drug. This delusion is making us think that this is fucking solidly real. And it's pretty fucking convincing. And this is not an invitation to be like, nothing is real. I don't have to do anything. No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. You still got to take accountability, responsibility for your life. But it is like, oh shit, this is way more malleable. This is way more cool than I thought it was. And I always kind of knew this too. This is another thing. A lot of people will find themselves saying, I always kind of thought it was like, this is what I thought it was like. I think I've been doing this my whole life. Of course you have. It never stops, never turns off. It's literally been doing this since we were little kids. People much older than us have been doing it since the dawn of time. It's just now, because of the gaze, this awareness gaze that technology has reflected back at us, we're so interconnected in real time and explicit 3D world, really digital world. It's kind of a different sublayer, substrata of consciousness. But because we have that, we're like super hyper aware of the rapidity of how consciousness creates stuff. And it's like, whoa, we can't deny it anymore. You can deny it like if enough people get together, right, and pretend that one person out of a group of 10 doesn't exist, you know, it probably wouldn't take too long before that 10th person is like, do I exist? Well, it's like, I don't think so. I must not exist. I think I'm just a delusion of their minds. Like, people's consciousness really does dictate what we perceive. This is why amidst all this uncertainty, there's all this UFO shit. They're finding life on Venus. Here's the question about finding life on Venus. Do we think they just found life on Venus? Or do we think because we just opened up into a resonant understanding of where Venus is on this timeline? Again, by the way, best timeline. Have forgot to mention that recently. Best timeline. Still the best timeline. Do we think that on this timeline, we've reached the resonant frequency? We're now ready to recognize and realize that life has been on Venus. Of course. And that this beacon that we experience right now is kind of the genesis of our awareness of life on Venus based on the empirical methods. It's a lot of big ass words, so I don't know what's going on. Is maybe just kind of like the beginning of finding out that aliens have existed and we're just peeling away layers of consciousness until we can see them all, ethereally or physically, which ultimately there is no difference. But that's what's going on. Holy shit. Did I just talk for 37 minutes? I thought this was going to be like 10 or 15 minutes and I was going to fill it up with some other stuff. I mean, I can look at other things. Should I do that? Should I do some Neville Goddard stuff and round out this episode like a proper podcaster? I think I will. Let me pause. I'll be right back. All right, I'm just going to pull these from Twitter. Also, I forgot to mention money stuff. Oh, my God. Money stuff is coming up for a lot of people. It's okay. It's all good. Don't worry. Your belief in your wealth, in your abundance, in your poverty is literally what creates it. That's a nice segue into this Neville Goddard thing. It is not a strong will that sends the subjective word on its mission, so much as it is a clear thinking and feeling the truth of the state affirmed. Clear thinking and feeling the truth of the state affirmed. What would you need to see or believe or feel to affirm that something is true, right? If you had, I don't know, I don't want to pick money in bank accounts, it's so fucking played out, but if you had just the life of your dreams, just live in it, how would you talk? What would you say? How would people react to you? What would they say to you? Wow, you look so great. Oh my God, that's amazing. You're doing really cool. That's really cool. It just could also be just like a very realistic. It doesn't have to be this over the top fucking caricature of how people would respond. Just be like, yo, that's fucking cool. Just basic shit. But go circle through people in your life and see how they would react to you. That's really what it is. It's not strength of will. It's not what it is. Confident expectation of a state is the most potent means of bringing it about. Confident expectation. Confident being the key word there. This should help people with a lot of like, I'm imagining things that are bad and I don't want them to happen and I'm kind of scared and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, which is totally valid, totally real. It happens all the time. I've been doing it. I've been doing it during this podcast. Thought of a few things. I'm like, oh, I don't want that. But confident expectation of the state is the most potent means of bringing it about. So if you confidently expect something to happen, that's potent as shit. If you just kind of like, I think something's going to happen, I hope something's going to happen, that's not. It's like, I'm afraid something's going to happen. Fear is a decent manifester. It can manifest things if you just won't let it go. But that's like anything. It's just pointing to the key of persistence is like a big, powerful tool for us. So if fears tend to be persistent, so we focus on them. We focus on them. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then it happens, and we're like, why did this happen? I knew it was going to. It's like, no, you just self-fulfilling prophecy. Literally, what is going on? It's the fucking root of the term. But fear isn't as powerful as confident expectation, because fear you have to dwell on. You have to like really get into it and like review it, and it's so powerful. Then at that point it's powerful. Ooh, I can't believe it's so powerful. You have to believe it. Confident expectation is already the firm belief that something is going to go on. That's the easiest way to do it. So if you've imagined something kind of gnarly happening and you go, oh no, that's not going to happen. Or maybe it happens, but in the best possible outcome for you, even better than before. Wow. Can you imagine that? But you're good. You don't have to worry about a confident expectation. Many of us, either from too little emotion or too much intellect, both of which are stumbling blocks in the way of prayer, cannot believe that which our senses deny. Okay? Let's talk about this. Many of us, if we have too much emotion, or too little intellect, or too much intellect rather, and too little emotion, we're going to take our senses as making everything true. Unless our senses line up, unless there's, clear evidence that this is happening, we're not going to believe shit. We're going to go, no, that's not how it is. My senses say no. My senses indicate no. That's cool. That's nice. It's not negating the beauty and wonders of physicality and physical universe and laws that seemingly run this place, but it really is your emotion and belief that summons it forth. And that's shaped by a lot of different things. It can be societal, cultural, parental, ancestral, historical, genetic, things you saw on TV, anything. It could be your own innate wisdom ever flowing from the abundance of your heart. That's what I recommend. That's a good thing. But basically, once you just accept that this is where your opinions are, you have the ability to flip that light switch and be like, do I want to engage? Yes or no? Is this a route? Is it a flow tree that leads to me to the state where I want to be? Is it? Does it feel like it? Be honest with yourself. Don't shy away from work either. That's one of the things I think I opened the episode talking about this surrendering, letting go of your bullshit. You really got to do that. You really got to do that if you want to get to this place of kind of like floaty light transcendence where like the life of your dreams isn't just there in shape and form, but has the resonant emotional qualities that you want. That's it. You got to be you at the end of the day. Don't run away from that. Don't run away from any aspect of you, because you're fucking amazing. That's the truth. Own your shit when you fuck up. Don't take too much credit. Be humble when you do great. Don't fucking go around bragging about shit. That's why, a lot of people were like, hey, we'd like some more stories from about successes you've had. I don't talk about my successes that much because who the fuck wants to hear that over and over? I'm doing great, guys. Fucking shit is working out. That's why these episodes where like I'm being candid about issues that I've had, that I have, that I'm transcending, that I'm working through, they're important. They're important to share that aspect of what's going on, because like I understand like no one, you can summon a state of utter perfection and bliss and still go through some shit. The shit does not mean you're doing something wrong. The shit doesn't mean you failed in some way. None of it does. But it may be there to strengthen your internal sense of conviction of like who you are and the life you want to be living. I don't know. Just a hunch. What else do we got? Do we have any, Neville? Yeah. If you judge by appearances, you may remain enslaved by simply the proof of your own senses. Again, do you take this world out there to be literal? Do you take it to be the feedback mechanism? Is it your internal sense of knowingness and conviction that ultimately shapes things? Not in like a power game, not like, I'm master of the universe, I shall create. I don't know why I'm doing Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know why, but I'm doing it. That happened. and I apologize for it. But you don't do it in this like egoic, like I'm ruling everything. You can totally. Plenty of people have done that. It's not great. But don't do that. Like, you can just be cool about how like your internal sense of awareness and imagination really does structure your reality, what you experience as reality externally. If you only pay attention to your senses, you'll get in this feedback loop because you're taking this effect. You're missing the key ingredient that you're doing it. And you go, well, that's real. It's like a refracting mirror of like you just keep going and going and going and going and going. It goes forever until you pull yourself out of it and you're like, oh shit, what the fuck? And this is actually very similar to me. I had this experience when I first started smoking weed where it actually felt like that. Someone would say my name. I was in the most altered state of consciousness just from weed, a little shitty weed too. So it obviously had nothing to do with the weed, which leads me to believe that it's not about these substances that we consume that really give us this effect. It's some other thing. But someone would say my name and it'd be like Noah, and it'd be like no, and it would just like cascade into infinity. But every experience was like that. So if I was chewing something, I remember chewing like some nachos in a movie theater. I'll never forget the movie. What was it? Grumpy Old Men 2. Fucking chewing some nachos. And all of a sudden, I'm an infinite nacho chew. Fucking infinite queso. Fucking and crunch going forever. Forever. I had to peel myself out of that fucking reality. Somehow get up at the beginning of this movie and walk out the fucking movie theater and eventually like call my dad and go and get sandwiches and like had to drive back. And like after like 3-4 hours, this is how long it usually took me to pull out of this like acute state of literally what it felt like is every sensory perception was cascading. The only other time I've experienced this and as like a visceral, palpable feeling is ketamine trips. Is where you're just like cascading in and out of yourself. And I think what's happening is your consciousness is trying to catch in and like lock in to like the narrative of who you are and what you're doing. And what's cool is it gives you this kind of opening space. Am I just talking about ketamine now? Sure. It gives you this opening space. It doesn't have to be ketamine. It could be anything, meditation, anything that gets you there. It opens you up. And that's where you kind of like let your higher self come in and guide you in those situations. A lot of people talk about kind of intuition and mediumship, and the only stuff that's ever worked for me with any of the divine arts or mediumship is just like opening myself up to what is actually going on around me and perceiving things that I don't gate with my senses. I also trust myself to know that like when I'm kind of bullshitting myself or when I'm not really feeling it and acknowledging that helps you calibrate towards a really like holy, sacred, amazing place, which is everything. But like, if you do stuff and like you feel like you like, let's say you're a medium or you're a psychic or you give readings and you're just doing it because that's what you do, you'll eventually lose touch with like the operative power, which is you, of how to like use these extrasensory tools. Don't just do it because you feel like you have to be doing something. Honestly, be like, no, I'm not feeling it right now. Someone feels like as soon as you do that, things start to flow in and feel good. Just be honest. That's good. Confidence in yourself as determined by conditioned consciousness always shortens the interval of time. If you were accustomed to great accomplishments, you would give yourself a much shorter interval in which to accomplish your desire than the man schooled in defeat. Shit. This was literally what started a fight between me and Denise last night. She asked me to imagine something, a physical healing thing, and I gave too long because I guess I was being a pussy. Holy shit, Neville Goddard throwing it in my fucking face. She'll love that. I'm going to screenshot that. Oh my God. Basically, are we clear what this is saying? Like, the more confident you are, the shorter and the faster shit happens. And you don't need to be a pussy about it. You know, you can just be like, you know what? I'm a fucking badass. I'm going to do this shit tomorrow. Oh my God. That's so crazy. I got to take a picture. Wow. All right. I think, are we going to wrap it up? Did we do it? No, it's only 50 minutes. Let's keep fucking going. How about that? Having fun. Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon. Right now, imagine something lovely for another. They need never know who is the cause of their fortune, but you will. Forgive everyone for everything they have ever done because you may have been the one who was the cause of their action. Holy shit, Neville Goddard. Why you gotta fucking lay it on us so hard? What's the point of that, man? Chill out. It's cool when you know you can imagine amazing things for other people and you don't have to explicitly tell them. And if you can watch those things happen for them and not feel compelled to tell them, I did it, look at me, I did it. If you will feel really good. You'll be like, whoa, look at this. This works for everything. I can just bless people whenever I want. Blessings, blessings, blessings. That's fun. Also, forgiving people for everything they've ever done is just like a savvy move. It doesn't mean like you literally every thought you have creates in this reality like some version of that like if you're thinking like a shitty thought about someone and they do something shitty, it doesn't mean you absolutely did it. It just means there's a chance you did. And if you were the cause of that action and you don't forgive them, who the asshole there? Who the asshole there? Who the asshole there? Put that on a t-shirt. Spell it just like that. Who the asshole there? Cool. It is not what you want that you attract. You attract what you believe to be true. Do you believe in the most transcendent and most amazing magical reality? Coolest place ever? Baddest ass fucking best thing ever? Cool. Do you believe in that? Do you believe it? Do you believe it to be true? Is this the best timeline? Am I crazy? Am I nuts? Or is this the best timeline? It's the fucking best timeline. What happens on the best timeline? Good shit. Cool. All of your dreams are coming true. Don't forget it. Just don't forget it. I'm going to keep reminding people that this is true. You determine your dreams with your feelings. You ever notice you get like you're feeling a little weird, you get a weird dream? There's a relationship there. I don't know what it is. You can figure it out. Have you realized you deserve everything yet? Literally everything. You're not undeserving of anything. You literally deserve it all. That's really fucking cool. I love that. Have you realized you're constantly giving yourself what you believe you're worthy of yet? Oh, look around. What have you recently believed you're worthy of yet? That's going to be your world, right? Here's a network. Here's a couple more. 3 more. We'll do 3 more. I ask you to test your imagination. This is Neville Goddard. Go all out and believe in what you have imagined. Do not try to influence anyone. Instead, put all of your energies into clarity of form. Many times I've heard someone say, I believe that imagining creates reality, but I once imagined something and it never came to pass. Then I ask, what are you doing saying I once imagined it and not imagining it now? For God's name is I am, not I did. Right? Let's talk about that for a second. If you think you imagined something and it never came to pass, then you're done. You did it. If you understand persistence and you're actively imagining it, it's going to happen. Don't lose it. Don't jump off it. Don't jump off that amazing. What is it for you? Well, should I share some of my imaginations? Here are some of my imaginations. One is I'm in bliss. I'm happy. I'm content. Everything works in my favor. Everything is getting better every day. I'm healthier. I'm happier. I'm more creative. I'm expressing myself personally. I'm doing real fucking work. I'm owning aspects of my personality that were hidden from me before. These are the things I imagine, right? And they scale up in degrees of specificity, right? I don't have to share all of those with you. But those are the things I imagine. If I just suddenly one day go, you know what? I'm giving up on bliss. Gonna not ratchet that one down to just being content. Gonna get bliss off the list. Sure, but I'm done imagining it. I'm not actively imagining it. If I am in a confident state of expectation, sure as shit, I will get to that. Sure as shit. What a weird saying, sure as shit. But you better believe I'm getting to that place. Just don't give up. That's what a lot of people do. They give up. Don't give up. Circumstances alter, then remold themselves in harmony with my assumption. As they crumble, I resurrect that which I've appropriated within. The walls, the obstacles, the problems crumble of their own weight if I can reach the point of stillness within me. Okay. This is kind of like that Potter thing before where like you're building the floppy dick with the thing. Is that this episode? Wow, it's been a long episode. We've come a long way since floppy dicks, guys. A long way, indeed. So let's say you fuck up your shit, you know, you fucking problems, you created obstacles and all these bad things. Those things collapse once you recognize you're creating everything. And then all of those things that seem like clusterfucks and problems and big things, they just blow away like dust in the wind, like the Kansas song. That's what happens. Bye-bye. That's cool. Do you know that's like the destructive feminine power too? That's what that is. It's feminine wisdom. It's Kali energy. It's fucking destroying these obstacles and walls. Very Ganesha too, I'll say. Childlike body, elephant head. Learn from your past. That's important. Should we pull one card from the Animal Oracle? That would be nice, I think. All right, let's do it. Starfish Spirit, open to infinite possibility. Now, if that ain't a fucking tagline of this podcast, is infinite possibilities. Don't limit yourself. Do you know the depths of love? Have you felt that before? Because you can keep going. Holy shit. That's basically what we're doing. We're like plunging through reality on like a love spaceship. We're like, how far can we push this fucking thing? How far can we fucking push this down the love tunnel? And we're fucking doing it. We may just be a big dick at the end of the day in a really even bigger vagina. That may be what's going on. We're just plunging forward in fucking love. And that's, who knows? Who knows? Who can truly know? But we're doing great. Okay, that's it for this episode. If you like this, you can rate and review the podcast. You can join the Patreon. At this point, if you're still listening, you'll probably enjoy the Patreon. It's a lot of shit like this. This is a very Patreon-like episode. There is a $7 level where you get Q&As twice a month where you can ask questions. I will answer them. The $13 level, you get bonus episodes, live streams, the Q&As. Everyone gets access to the Discord server, CryptoSync, where we talk about cryptocurrency and spirituality and all these other things. Spirituality, I'm done with that term. You should have seen the body action I just did there with like my head. That was very dismissive of the word spirituality. I'm sorry, word spirituality. You're fine. Can't even say you properly now. Sorry. Anyway, that goes on the $13 level. There's smoke sessions at the $22 level. Those are Zoom meetings. I should stop calling them smoke sessions. It's just where we get together and hang out and talk about shit. Smoking weed is optional. Obviously, you can. I'm usually smoking weed. That's why I call them smoke sessions. That goes on. Usually doing a couple of those a month now because I recognize we're getting time zones. So it's a pretty fucking fun place. And there's the music, of course. I have a couple of releases coming out. They're pretty fucking sweet, and I'm proud of those. So those will be out soon, but until then, you can find most of the music on Patreon. If you ask me for a specific song, it's not available on the Patreon Dropbox, then I will usually bounce it and send it to you or post it. So that's what's going on there. Syncpodcast.com is the website. There's other ways to engage with all this shit. It's fun times. I know shit is crazy. Hopefully you feel like me, which is, there's been plenty of times the past few weeks, even the past 24 hours, where I'm just like, I'm getting slammoed. Just fucking slammed with emotional haymakers, spiritual haymakers, growth haymakers. And I'm just fucking taking these punches. I'm rope-a-doping it, right? You ever know Muhammad Ali? Fucking George Foreman? The whole fucking 8 rounds. George Foreman's pounding on Muhammad Ali. He's fucking just slamming him. And the whole time, Muhammad Ali's going on the ropes. He's going in the corners, and it looks like he's just getting the shit kicked out of him for 8 fucking rounds. Just like totally, like this dude is, wow, I feel bad for him. One of the greatest is George Foreman's fucking tearing him up. George Foreman grill, right? Fucking until that one key moment where this entire time where he's just been absorbing the blows because he's been taking the fucking things on the ropes. He's relieving some of the pressure. He just comes out and knocks him out real fucking fast. Boom, done, fight over. And it's amazing, and that's kind of where we're at. We're at rope-a-dope energy. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. The end of this episode is where the name came from. So no one will get this until the very end. All right, guys. You're the best. I love you. Until next week, happy imagining.